What's really good, and welcome back to another episode of the Sanchez Show Friday Night Live. Let me get Will Gordon in here as well. Will, what's good, bro?
What they do, baby?
What's really
What they
good?
do, baby? Happy
Yeah, yeah.
Friday.
Likewise,
What's
my
up with
brother.
you?
We,
What's
we,
up
we
with you?
coming to
What's
the
up with
people,
you?
chilling, man. On daddy duties tonight, so we coming to the people a little earlier than we normally do.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Trey Matter, I've never seen him in the comment section, but I appreciate you locking in. If anyone is watching and there are issues with sending in comments, let me know. I know last
Yeah,
week we had
let us know early. Let us
yeah,
know early.
as early as possible. You can shoot me a comment on social media. You see the social media handle. Will Gordon social media handles there as well. So you can send us, like I said, a question, comment, anything that might not be coming up in the comment section. That's my man Earl. Shout out to my man Earl. Appreciate you, bro. We about to get to it. We starting a little earlier than normal, but that's what happens sometimes, right?
What up,
Um,
Earl? What up, Earl?
it's my man
I
here.
like that old school kind of name, Earl. What up,
Nah,
Earl?
that's my man's for real, and he a Dolphins fan. So if he got any Dolphins questions, that he probably sent them in there. As always, salute. Let's get to it.
Yes, sir.
For those of you that might be tuning in for the first time, we go live every Friday night. We give you our picks for the week. You're gonna see those scroll across the bottom of the screen throughout the episode, throughout the live. Make sure you subscribe to the Sanchez Show as well as follow us across all social media handles. Again, as you see them at the bottom of the screen. And then on Sunday, I'll be back with Trip Young as we do as our weekly recap over on Real Fans Real Talk. A couple things before we start. I want to shout out my main man, the OG, Gene Deal, author, got 2 books out. Obviously, he's known across the world and specifically on social media for his time as Puffy's bodyguard with Bad Boy Records. He was there tonight. Obviously, Big died. That was his first book, The Last Big Night. And I chopped it up with him again this week as we discuss what's going on with Puff right now. The clips of that will be dropping this week as well. So he gave us some good insight on some things.
Word?
Yeah, man. I told you we got some things in the works.
Man, you keeping stuff in your pocket, man. Cool.
Nah, I mean, like I said, well, remember when we was on live Sunday, I said I didn't want to speak too much on it until we actually completed the mission. And so
Yeah.
now that we got to sit down with him and we got the content, it's very good quality content. I got to ask him some questions that I don't think anybody else has really asked him. As far as
And you,
Puff,
you know what? Shout out to him though too for keeping it a buck and coming back and reaching back out and allowing y'all to you know reconnect with him on this latest news and whatnot, man. Because that's I know it's a lot of people pulling at him right now. Pause. You know what I'm saying? So for him to give you some time, that shows he's a real one.
now that's a fact. I know he got something that's in the works with A&E Network that's going to be coming out soon. So be on the lookout for that. But as I mentioned in the interview, and like I said, you'll see the clips as they start to roll out. We're gonna start rolling them out this week. Um, the first time I had the opportunity to sit down with Gene was almost 8 years ago. He ain't know me from a hole in the wall, but he gave us the opportunity. He knew Anthony. He didn't know me, but he gave me the opportunity to interview him and kind of speak to the people. And at that time, as I said, there was a lot of major networks that were like they were treating him like he was off limits. Like, now we can't get into that because of Puff's influence. Too many people didn't want to really go against the grain. But now everybody wants to hear the story, and I think Gene deserves his salute for that because he stayed consistent. He kept telling his story. He kept trying to bring awareness to certain things that was taking place when he was a part of Bad Boy and things that he's continued to hear since he's left Bad Boy. So shout out to him, man, on that. But my brother Will Gordon, it is Friday night. It is about the opinionated ones. What you want
Yes,
to get into?
sir.
What you want to get into first?
I don't even know like what's really even been popping this week though.
I mean,
What's
the
what's been the
Puff thing is still certain. Oh, the other thing I want to say, shout out to Vince Carter.
okay?
Vince Carter, I don't know if you saw, they released the clip. The Raptors surprised them. They announced that they're going to be retiring his jersey. He's the first Toronto Raptor to have his jersey retired, rightfully so. the man that really put basketball on the map in Canada, and probably the most influential guy in Raptors history. I mean, I know they won a championship after he was gone there, but what Vince did for them and put them on the map, I mean, it's second to none.
Yeah, man. You talking about one of the most iconic players in NBA history. Like you can have your Mount Rushmore of players and who was the best and da 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 da. But when you're talking about iconic players, you can't give me a top five list and don't have amazing on that thing. You know what I'm saying? What he did with the excitement and electricity that he brought to the game was unmatched. Like in his era, I say the only person that brought somewhat similar electricity as far as box office, as far as the things like highlight reel, like Dominique Wilkins used to be, and like Sean Kemp used to be. In this era was him and Blake Griffin, probably. You know what I mean?
Yeah. In terms of that athleticism, and
As far as the
yeah,
the
every
ooh
every
ah
night,
dunks, the ooh and ah
every night
dunks. You know
Sports
what I
Center
mean?
top 10. Yeah, every night Sports Center top 10. It was those guys on it. Um, Vince will
Now when
probably
Hoopers, no, my bad. When Hoopers talk about Vince Carter and where he fits in, at least the conversations I've been in, where he fits into the hierarchy of wings, like twos or threes in the league. A lot of people question his desire and his drive and his want to, where it was almost like so natural to him and almost too easy to where he didn't really have that drive. He didn't have that I'm gonna take your throat out, pause type of drive. And
easy. You gotta
you
be
know what I'm
careful
saying?
with phrases.
Hey, I threw I threw the pause out. I threw the pause out. But it's just like he never had that ferocity that you want to see out of somebody that has that ability. You know what I mean? Like even like I feel like you can look at T Mac, you can look at T Mac and say T Mac had more I'm gonna come and take your heart out than Vince did. It's just T Mac was slowed down by the injuries. With Vince, he had all the opportunity in the world, but he just didn't. That just wasn't his personality.
It
But
wasn't.
I mean, not to take away from Vince, but I don't think we saw. I don't think we saw the best possible. And for me to say that I mean, that, you know what I mean. It feels wrong for me to even be saying that. It's just what I'm saying, just some dude. But it doesn't feel like we got the best out of Vince that we could have got.
I think that's fair to say, and that's not a knock on Vince. Just some dudes just don't have that killer instinct. As you mentioned, I think T Mac did have it a little bit more, and I think for his era, Vince is always going to be looked at as the Dominique to Kobe's Jordan, right? Kobe had the killer instinct. Kobe was far more successful, but when you throw on the tape, it's like probably nobody was more athletic than Vince, and Vince had no limitations in his game, and there was no reason why Vince didn't get an opportunity to play on the grandest stage, other than what you mentioned. He just didn't have the killer instinct. He didn't have the mindset to want to go out every night and prove he was the best player on the court. There were some nights he would float through games. So you're absolutely right. And I still don't know why Vince didn't have more success when he went to Jersey with Jason Kidd and Richard Jefferson. They had a good team. He should have had more success there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand why it didn't happen in Toronto because he was the only guy carrying that team, especially after T Mac left and then T Mac developed into an all star. But when he went to Jersey, there was no excuse why that team didn't do more. They had two all stars with a borderline third all star, and at a time when the East was very weak, they should have done more. But Vince just never had that killer instinct.
It almost feels like he was like, okay, I'm gonna play my position, and didn't say, all right, give me the fucking ball and move out the way. You know what I'm saying? Where he feels like more of a uber athletic company man.
It was like somebody who, I want to fit in. I don't want to ruffle any feathers. I don't want to like rock the boat here any more than I need to. I just want to kind of fit in and be one of the guys. But his talent, he was too special to just be one of the guys. He should have been the guy that took over and said, I can lead us somewhere and do more. And aside from that one playoff run with Toronto when he went toe to toe with AI, he never really showed that.
Nope.
So that's that. Will, just random. What shows you locked into right now? What you watching?
The Wire.
Oh, you went back.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually like literally, I could walk you over to my TV right now and show you where it's paused. But I'm on the Wire rewatch. I started yesterday. I knocked out season 1 all day yesterday because I've been home with my son. He had his tonsils taken out and his adenoids taken out, so he's been out of school all week. So I've been off all week with him. So I've just been watching the Wire. I mean, I ain't saying he been watching it. he like, come at the king, you best not miss. You know what I'm saying?
He started acting different in the schoolyard. You know why?
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? But nah, I've been rewatching The Wire because my shows that I usually lock in on, my Chicago shows, the season just started last week, the new season. So they only like one episode in, and I like to binge. I don't like to watch it 1 week at a time. So I'm gonna probably let those play out while I rewatch The Wire. So then by the time I get done rewatching The Wire, Chicago Fire, Chicago PD is gonna be their new season is gonna be played out, and then I can just bench those. It's like I see what I'm saying. I got my my way of doing things. Yeah. What you into?
I just started watching the Mr. McMahon joint on Netflix.
The what?
Mr. McMahon.
What's that about?
The one on Vince McMahon that Netflix just put out. I believe.
Oh, it's like a documentary or something?
Yeah, so it was something. I mean, I was a wrestling fan as a kid. It kind of faded as I got older. I think I like kind of fell out of wrestling maybe when I was around like 18, 19. I was obviously a big fan during the Hulk Hogan, Macho Man era, Bret Hart, leading up to Stone Cold and The Rock, and then that's when it kind of started to fade for me a little bit. But I was intrigued by it because, to me, one of the biggest in the podcast space is Bill Simmons, and Bill Simmons is the one who's responsible for 30 for 30. He's the one who did the Andre the Giant documentary, and they started collecting footage for this documentary, I think, over 10 years ago. And then it was kind of one of those start and stop projects, start and stop, start and stop. And then when the allegations against Vince McMahon came out, the sexual assault, the bribing of the mistress, like it made the whole situation choppy because then WWE wanted nothing to do with the documentary. So I'm intrigued from both aspects. Like what were they talking about before the scandal popped, and then how they're gonna finish this off, because the world of wrestling and sports entertainment has always been in the headlines for scandals, whether it was steroids, whether it was things behind the scenes that was taking place. So I'm just intrigued from that standpoint. But that's what I've been watching. Trying to think what else. There's a series that my wife is getting me into now called From, on, I want to say that's on Prime. It's like some horror joint. It's called From, yeah.
I don't get down with scary joints.
I was about to say his home. I don't know his name, but the main actor is dude from
Oz.
Yeah, homie that was in a wheelchair in Oz.
Yeah. I seen the trailers. Yeah.
Let's we got a question up
that
here.
Dude ain't aged at all.
Nah, he might be a vampire for real. Because he still
like, yo. Oh, the only thing to change about him is the length of his locks. That's about it.
That's it. He cut his hair, but he still looks the same. He might be a vampire. We got to find out. Trey Matter said The Boys on Prime is pretty good.
Nope, can't get with it. And I tried to. I mean, nah, I'm not gonna say it. I don't mean nope. Like it's not a good show. To each their own. But I just like I'm not a big like I don't even really get into like the Marvel movies, like the superhero type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then this joint is like it's like superhero slash Rob Zombie. It's like it's kind of crazy the kind of twists and turns to be happening on this show. And I tried to watch it. I gave it a shot because a lot of people was telling me that it was worth watching, but to each their own. But a lot of people do like that. And but I'm one of them people that don't like a lot of shows people like. Like I don't like Game of Thrones. I don't like
I'm not
Breaking
into
Bad.
Breaking Bad was good. I'm not into Game of Thrones, but I have been into House of Dragons. I don't know why. Something about Game of Thrones when I first watched it just wasn't for me. But when I watched House of Dragons, I was more interested in that.
Hmm.
And it's weird because House of Dragons is like the prequel to Game of Thrones. But I just something about the storyline on that. You know what it was? I'm be honest. When I watched House of Dragons, my wife's a big fan of House of Dragons. I try to get into it. When I watched it, and in the first episode, they was talking about like homie sleeping with his sister and all that. I was like, nah, I'm good.
Right.
It was just too weird for me. That
Yeah,
shit.
I ain't been like that kind of stuff. And
Yeah,
then like, I'm just not a fantasy dude. Like the whole flying dragons. I like even when I was a kid, like I wasn't into the never ending story.
yeah.
That
I never.
that
I'll be
big
honest.
ass dog flying around and stuff.
Yeah,
I wasn't into that kind of stuff.
I never was big on like comic books either. That's why like superhero stuff, like with like certain like Marvel or DC movies, I'm not really big on them. Like there's certain ones like Batman. I'm a fan of Batman. I'm a fan of
Yeah,
Spider.
me too. Me
Right.
too.
I'm a fan of Spider-Man. But then like when it gets more in depth and the different characters, like I'm you lose me on that. Shout out to King Mac.
Like
Appreciate the comment. Let's get to this one right here from King Mac. He said, "How y'all feeling about Colorado?" He's talking about the Buffaloes this year. I'm assuming, right? College, because he said think they can win. Think they can get 6 wins this year. Well, I'm gonna let you start on that one. Right now,
they wait, hold up. They had last week off, right?
no, they remember last week was the Baylor game. You and I were texting during the game last
Oh, is
Saturday.
that the game we was watching?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. When they hit the Hail Mary at the end of regulation, and then
What day of the week is that? It feels a long time ago.
it was
Was
just
that
last Saturday.
that was a Saturday? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that fourth quarter was amazing. I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and act like I'm an expert on college football and what they've been doing and or because you even had to tell me the game was on. You know what I'm saying? Like right at the end of the third. But that fourth quarter, man, whoo, that was what football is all about. I don't want to say college football. That was what football is all about. It's the way that game ended uh last weekend. Shador Sanders and Travis Hunter are a combination in college football that I have not seen since. And people want to say like Joe Burrow, Justin. I mean, who was this receiver?
Well,
Jefferson.
he had Jefferson and he had Jamar Chase.
But I don't. But I didn't. I didn't see this. You know what I mean? When it's like they, because on those LSU teams that people want to compare, they had NFL players all up and down the roster.
I was just about to say that. That's the biggest difference.
You know what I'm saying? Not like they had them all 11 was going to the league.
Clyde Edwards
Where
was the running back on that team.
look at
Yeah,
damn.
they had again their quarterback, their 2 top receivers, their running back were all first round talent. They had a third receiver on that team. I can't think of right now, but they had a third receiver on that team, and I'm gonna have to look it up. And if somebody in the comment section wants to list it, and I believe they had a corner or a safety on that team that was first round talent. They had about 6 guys on that team that were first round talent that were drafted actually in the first round.
I don't remember quarterback / receiver electricity, and then you got to sprinkle in what he does on the other side of the ball too. Pause. Is ridiculous. Like who? Like what 2 players can you remember at the collegiate level had that much influence on the success of a football team?
Appreciate you, right? Yeah, he said Terrence Marshall was the third receiver. Terrence Marshall went in the first round to the Panthers. So they had 3 first-round receivers, a running back that went first round, a quarterback. Was Joe number 1 overall in that draft? That was the Tua draft. I think Joe was number 1 overall. They had 5 guys on their offense alone that was first-round picks.
Who was Peter Ward's quarterback?
Chris Winkie.
Oh no, yeah, we can't go there.
No. The comparison is great, as what you said, because it is true. The Shador Travis Hunter combo is so unique because they are carrying this team. It is literally those 2 guys like Travis Hunter's playing every snap on defense and then still giving you 7 catches for 112 on offense. Right? They have no running game. Their O-line is shitty. They can't stop the run. Nobody throws on Travis Hunter's side. It's always the other corner that they pick on. So when you look at the numbers of the game,
shout out to Shador for throwing 2 game winners last week. 1 got dropped.
Yeah, one hit the receiver in the face mask.
Right here. Yeah. Come on.
But that's what makes Shador and Travis Hunter so special, is that these 2 guys are carrying the team. There is they can't afford a day where either one of them has a bad day because they're going to lose. They can't run the ball. They can't stop the run. If you look over the last year and a half, dating back to last season, the games they win look kind of like last Saturday, where they're shootout games and Shador is kind of finding ways to win the game and Travis Hunter's making these spectacular plays. They haven't had too many comfortable wins since Prime has been there. All their games have been nail biters. And I think they showed even in the Baylor game last week, dating back to last year, I think they had something like 9 games that have come down to 1 possession in the fourth quarter.
Hey, yo, did we talk about this last week? I feel like we did. I be talking so much sports with so many dudes. Did we talk about Bill Belichick going to the Cowboys last week?
I don't think we talked about him going to the Cowboys. I think on Sunday we mentioned about possible Jaguars.
The Jags. Okay. Oh yeah, because they got a non-meddlesome owner and okay. Right. Well, what I was getting at, I don't know who I talked to about that, but what I was getting at is I heard somebody say, "What if?" Now it's crazy because Dak just got that bag.
Mm-hmm.
But what if you had some way that where Shador and Dion landed in Jerry World?
I mean, the only way
that would be the biggest thing in sports history.
It would. The only way would happen.
I mean, the only thing bigger than that is Jordan coming back.
The only way it would happen is if the Cowboys found a way to get a top 5 pick, because I think Shador is going top 5.
So they can move up.
Yeah, but they don't have the resources to move up. They don't have the resources. There are still some like stupid general managers. Shout out to the Carolina Panthers. For the most part, 85% of the league, maybe even 90% of the league, is like pretty savvy general managers. Like, what are the Cowboys giving up to move up to like top 5? Like Dak? Nobody wants Dak in his contract.
Listen. This is just
I don't know, but I'm just saying, like, just to play devil's advocate from a news standpoint, yes. But to play devil's advocate, like, let's be realistic. What could the Cowboys trade to move up into the top 5? Because their best players are all under big contracts. So it's like if you're a team making that trade, it's like, why would I trade for the big contract when I could just take the young talent that's going to be on a rookie deal?
What's Micah making right now?
Mike
See,
is
this
up.
is
Mike is up for a contract this
see
offseason.
this is what happens when Madden just came out and the new college football is out for the first time in 12 years or whatever it's been,
Mm-hmm.
and people are on franchise modes. You know what I'm saying? This is a conversation that happens, and I welcome it. I'm not saying it's realistic, but this is the kind of conversations I miss in sports talk, man. I miss the super crazy
Let me.
would never happen, what would be dope if it
All right.
did,
So I'm
video
gonna go
game
down. I'm
conversations.
gonna go down this road with you. I'm gonna go down this road with you. Let me ask you a question. How you think Jerry would handle having a coach like Dion? Because Dion is a bigger star than Jerry Jones. The media gravitates to Dion way more than they do Jerry Jones, and it would no longer be quote unquote the Jerry Jones show. Because right now, I think Jerry Jones loves the fact that he has these yes men as coaches, right? The Jason Garrett's, the Mike McCarthy's. Because who's the first one the media goes to speak to? It's Jerry Jones. The media ain't looking for
See,
them.
I think he's over that. Like if he can have a figurehead like Dion, like you just named who, Jason Garrett, who was nothing in the league,
Mm-hmm.
Mike
Jimmy wasn't
McCarthy,
that
who
close
didn't
either.
play. When you got a dude like Dion, that's a Hall of Famer, that is his own show, and if you could put a star like that on the star, I think Jerry Jones would be in the corner. I don't know if did you see the Travis Kelce Saturday Night Live episode last year?
Nah.
Oh, dog. Okay. Everybody that's watching this joint, there's a skit when Travis Kelce hosted Saturday Night Live last year. And it's just Google on once we're done, go on YouTube and look up SNL Watch from the Corner, Travis Kelce. And I feel like that's what Jerry Jones would do the entire time. He'd just sit there and watch from the corner as Dion worked his match. And you'll see once you watch that skit, it gets a little deeper than what I'm gonna say. Pause. And the whole skit's pause. But yo, watch the Travis Kelce SNL Watch from the Corner. And that's what Jerry Jones would do if Deion Sanders would come in and coach his Dallas Cowboys.
I don't know, bro. I'm gonna be honest. I think Jerry likes things the way they are. Pause. I think he likes the fact that he's the biggest star there. I think he likes the fact that the Cowboys are relevant regardless of whether they win or lose, and he gets to be the first one to answer questions and be at the microphone. Pause. He enjoys that. Because if he didn't, let's be realistic right now. Let's talk sports for real, Will, right? Because you know sports very well, just like I know sports.
Yes, sir.
If Jerry Jones really wanted to win, why didn't he fire Mike McCarthy after last season? If he really wanted to win, you had Bill Belichick and Mike Vrabel available along with John Harbaugh. Did you not?
But listen, if Jerry Jones wanted to win, why did you fire Jimmy Johnson 30 years ago? This ain't new.
No.
This ain't new.
So you just proved my point.
This ain't new. This you.
This
You
is
know what I'm saying?
right.
It ain't new. It's you.
You just proved my point. He fired Jimmy Johnson because he wanted to be the biggest star. He didn't want Jimmy getting the credit. He didn't want Jimmy being the one that was adored by the fans and the media, right? He wanted to be the one that got the admiration from everybody. He wanted the one that everybody looked at as you're responsible for what we're doing. It's the same reason that he was the general manager for 20 years. He wanted to get the accolades for all those things. Nothing has changed. I said this a couple years ago when Tom Brady was leaving New England. I said, if Dallas really wanted to win, why wouldn't you go after Tom Brady? You had a roster in place. At that time, what we talking 4 years ago when Tom Brady became a free agent, and Dallas still had prime Zeke and had the weapons they had, why wouldn't you have gone after Tom Brady then? Dak had already showed you. Dak had already showed you 4 years ago that he wasn't a clutch time quarterback that could win you big games. You could have went after Tom Brady then and said, we're all in to try to win this year and next year. They didn't, right? Mike McCarthy, they got blown out last year in the playoffs. Leading up to last night, I'm sure you had the Cowboys winning last night. I had the Cowboys as well last night. I would consider it a push because my bet ticket, I got them when they were at 5. So it was a push. But leading up to last night, in 3 of the last 4 games for the Dallas Cowboys to start the season, dating back to the playoff game of last year, they had given up 35 plus points and got blown out in 3 of those 4 games. Mike McCarthy is a lame duck coach. We know what he is. We knew that when the Packers went in there and beat the shit out of them last year.
Right.
And when you had the opportunity to go get Harbaugh, who was coming back from Michigan, or go get Belichick, or go get Mike Vrabel, you didn't do any of those things. You ran it back with the same coach. And then you ran it back, allowed these contract dramas to linger all off season, right? And but who's the first one at the microphone? Jerry Jones. He's giving you his opinions on Dak Prescott and his new deal. He's giving you his opinions on CeeDee Lamb and his new deal. Jerry loves this shit. He don't want nobody. That's why I pose the question: How would Jerry even handle the fact that the media would not go to him first? Because if Dion, the moment Dion steps in that building, Dion is the biggest star in Dallas again. It's just like when Dion was a player. When Dion went there as a player, and they were already 2-time Super Bowl champs with Aikman, Emmett, and Mike Irvin. Who's the biggest star?
See, I think...
No, hold on. Who was... When Dion went there in 95, after he beat them with the 49ers, even though they had already been 2-time champs, who was the biggest star on that team?
In 95?
When Dion signed this contract...
I gotta say it was Prime.
Right. It was Prime. And the moment Dion would step back on that facility as a head coach, it would happen all over again. And Jerry Jones does not want to.
But guess what, though? Jerry Jones is 90-something years old now.
Position yourself in front of your phone. Position yourself. We got like half your face there.
I love that. Jerry Jones is 90-something years old now, man.
And he still loves the attention. He still loves the attention. He loves the attention. He's the first one to comment on anything Dallas. Anything. Why? He's the most popular person in that organization, even at his age. Why? Because that's what he wants.
I think at this point, he's willing to, whatever Dion says, he'll sit right behind Dion. And whatever Dion says, and then he'll just pop over his shoulder right here and be like, yep. And then Dion will say some more shit. And Dion will go on his big spills. And then Jerry gonna come in. Like remember on Don't Be a Menace. Remember on Don't Be a Menace when Keenan would pop in and be like, message, yeah. But that's what Jerry Jones, I think, is willing to do at this point in his career. Dion can talk that talk, he can talk his shit, and then Jerry just gonna pop in and be like, message, and be happy with that, man. That's what I think is what we about to see in Dallas.
What we're seeing from Jerry Jones right now is the same thing we saw in the latter days from Al Davis. They want to be the biggest star and the biggest reason their team is successful. They don't want to hand over power to anybody else. They don't want to hand over any credibility or accolades to anybody else. They want it to be about them. That's why the Cowboys have been the way they are. If Jerry, listen, we know, Will, we gotta call a spade a spade. At some point, you gotta say you are who you are. You don't change when you 80-something years old. You are who you are. This is who Jerry Jones is. He got them 3 Super Bowls because Jimmy Johnson was a master at coaching and building a team. That's why he got them 3 Super Bowls. Jimmy went in there and fixed things up. Because even when Barry Switzer came in, that Super Bowl that Barry Switzer won, that was Jimmy's Super Bowl. We know that. That was all the pieces from Jimmy Johnson. The moment that all started falling apart and Jimmy Johnson and people like Jimmy Johnson weren't a part of that organization, they haven't come close to winning another Super Bowl. Jerry is not conceding any of that power. He's just not. So it sounds great. And like you said, from a fantasy standpoint, it sounds great to be like, yo, what it would be like for Dion to go there. I don't think Dion would go there because he knows Jerry is not conceding power. And I'm not going to go here to be a yes man for you. I'm not going to go to Dallas just for the sake of like, oh, it sounds great and it sells a bunch more tickets, which they don't need to sell because AT&T Stadium is sold out all the time anyway. But Jerry Jones is not about winning. At some point, we got to call a spade a spade. He has no interest in actually winning football games. He's more than content with being a good regular season team that flames out early in the playoffs. He's more than content because it keeps him in the headlines. ESPN keeps talking about him. Fox Sports keeps talking about him. Skip Bayless keeps doing them bullshit ass internet contents on IG and Facebook talking about them. Right? You
don't think he's desperate to win the Super Bowl in the next 2 years because he sees his fate in front of him?
No, he isn't. Because if he was desperate to win a Super Bowl, why wouldn't you hire Bill Belichick?
Because Bill ain't done shit without Tom. That's why.
And what has Jerry done without Jimmy Johnson? If I'm desperate to win, all right, even if you don't want to hire him, why wouldn't I go hire Vrabel or Harbaugh? Guys that have a proven track record of developing and having winning situations. Why wouldn't I go that route then? Why would I keep running it back with Mike McCarthy? What has Mike McCarthy ever done outside of that one season with Aaron Rodgers? You running back with a guy. You running back with a guy whose team just gave up 40-something points in a first round playoff game last year. At what point, Mike McCarthy, they let go of the offensive coordinator, right? Because Kellen Moore was let go 2 seasons ago when they said, "Oh, the offense is the issue." Even though Mike McCarthy is supposed to be this great offensive guru, Kellen Moore was calling the offense. Then Kellen Moore got fired, right? And he ended up with the Chargers. Then last year, they fired a defensive coordinator. Well, we see the defense ain't the issue because the defense been holding tough. But at some point, where's the accountability for Mike McCarthy? And I said, there's a clip that I got from Real Fans Real Talk when they lost to the 49ers like 3 years ago. And I said, the Cowboys are like the only team that, and this was 3 years ago, that you can go up and down their roster and you can find Pro Bowl caliber talent at pretty much every position. They got a Pro Bowl at their secondary. They got Pro Bowlers on their D-line. Pro Bowlers on the O-line, Pro Bowl at receiver, Pro Bowl caliber quarterback. 3 years ago, they had a Pro Bowl caliber running back. How much more talent do you fucking need? You got Pro Bowl caliber players at every level of the team, and you still losing in the first and second round. You're not even getting close to Super Bowls. But Jerry's cool with it. The same. Why the fuck did Jason Garrett keep the job so long? Because he was a yes man.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Jerry, to me, Dion is going to get a shot in the NFL. It's going to happen. Now, I think Dion still got a lot of work to do, but he's going to get a shot at the NFL. It's just inevitable. People see what he's doing. They see the type of attention he's attracting, but more importantly, they see the type of coaching staff that he can build. Because Dion's greatest strength is that he's a salesman. He can get the coaching staff. He can motivate the guys. He'll get other people to draw up the X's and O's, and he'll put a great staff around them, and they'll be competitive. And then he can connect with the players in a way that 99% of the coaches can't connect with players. So Dion will get the shot. That's what he said, right? But we never even answered King Mac's question. He said, how y'all feeling about Colorado this year? Think they can get the 6 wins. So, King Mac, when you wrote that, I brought up their schedule real quick. They 3-1 right now. This is what they got remaining. They got a tough game against UCF tomorrow. UCF is undefeated. They're favored by 14 points over Colorado. I'm probably going to take the points with Colorado, but I wouldn't be surprised if they lose that coming off the emotional game. After that is where it gets really tough for them. They got Kansas State. They get Arizona. They get Cincinnati. They get Texas Tech. They get Utah. They get Kansas. They get Oklahoma. Out of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games that are remaining, these are the records of the teams they playing, starting with tomorrow. 3-0, 3-1, 2-1, 3-1, 3-1, 4-0. 1-3 is Kansas, Oklahoma 3-1 right now. Every team that they have remaining out of those last, what I say, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 7 of those 8 have winning records. 4 of those teams, or 1, 2, 3 of those teams, are currently ranked. 6 wins is going to be tough. I'm going to be honest. I don't think they get to 6 wins. I don't think they'll be bowl eligible this year because, as I highlighted, it's all about Shedeur and Travis Hunter. And when you play the better teams will find a way to take Travis Hunter out of the games. It's not to say he's not talented, but we know already when you got a talented receiver, what do? Will? You roll coverage that way. You double over that way. You sit linebackers underneath on underneath routes. You do everything in your power to take that away while you blitz your door because you know their old line is trash, and you force him to trust some other receivers. Some of those guys that we talked about, Will, the guys that he was hitting in the face mask that can't catch the ball. They're going to force those running backs to stay in and protect. And so I don't think Colorado gets the 6 wins. But what do you think, Will?
That's where you got to go get creative and move him around and your different looks. You can't just put him out in the same spot every time and expect him to be able to get open. You got to use a lot of motion. You got to bring him out. You might have to bring him out in the backfield and then motion him out wide. Things like that, like certain different creative things just to get the defense guessing, because if you just make it easy for him and put him at the X or the Y, then he's going to be absolutely double covered. But if you're moving him around the field, it makes it harder, and because then you're going to most likely end up with a linebacker trying to double cover him, which is a loss. And then that's when you need other guys to step up, like that kid that dropped the ball. They hit him in the chest right before the game went in throw last week, or the game tying throw, whatever it was. So you just gotta be creative in your sets, move them around. This is where when you play Madden when you was in the 7th grade needs to come in handy. When you moving guys around, you changing their routes as they move and stuff like that. You know what I mean? This is where you need to get creative, and it can be done.
No, it can be done. It can be done. I mean, I'm not saying it's impossible, but you are going to need, I think in order for them to get the 6 wins, they're going to need other guys to start stepping up. And I love what Coach Prime has done with Colorado. I love the exposure that he's brought there for those young men. But this is also one of the moments where you wonder if, and this happened last year too, if maybe the spotlight that he's created there is too bright for those guys. Because everybody's a big talker until it's time to get on the field. Everybody think they the shit until it's time to get on the field, and then you got to live up to those expectations. That's what makes Shador and Travis Hunter so special, that they're living up to those expectations of what Coach Prime and the program has put on them. But some of those other guys aren't living up to that expectation. You know what I'm saying? You got O linemen out there that's just getting dogged every time. You got D linemen that can't stop the run. This is the moment where guys got to step up to the moment and understand, if we really want to be a special team, we got to find a way to elevate our game to match our quarterback, match our receiver / cornerback, because those guys are doing everything in their power to win games. Like I said, Travis Hunter damn near playing every snap, every game.
And that's the thing, like, when you look at it, what other teams across the country, other than maybe the top 6 to 8 teams in the country, have depth? Like, you know what I mean? Like level 1, top-notch depth.
But the powerhouse schools, the Bamas, the Georgias.
Yeah, Bama, Georgia. Like, outside of those schools, once you get past those schools, where does Colorado fall after that? Because we know they're not that yet.
I mean,
but after that, where do they fall?
Well, I mean, as currently projected, they're outside of the top 25, even though they're 3-1. Now, 6 wins, which King Mac mentioned, obviously that makes you bowl eligible. You get 6 wins, you might be able to play in the Meineke Bowl. You know what I'm saying? One of them type bowls or something. In order for you to be a playoff team, even though they've expanded this year, I think you probably got to get to 9 wins to be a playoff team. You're going to have to win your conference. You're going to have to get to about 9 wins to be one of those 12 that makes this year's first round of playoffs. I don't know if they're that. And again, that's not a knock on Shador or Travis Hunter. We're just talking about a tremendous jump. Remember, 2 years ago, this team only won 1 game. Dion came in, cleaned house. Last year they got off to a hot start, but they only won 4 games last year. So to think that you take that type of jump where you double up your wins in one season, that's tough. To then just go from 4 wins to 8 or 9 wins, that's tough because, like I mentioned, their last 8 games, 3 of those opponents are currently ranked. All of those opponents, aside from one, have either 2-1 or 3-1. So they're off to pretty good starts right now, and they're trying to angle and position themselves for bowl eligibility. So they got to show something. It's got to be something outside of the main 2 guys. I think you froze, bro. There you go. There's got to be something outside of them 2 guys, though. We'll see what happens. Will, you got let's talk about some of the picks. We ain't got to go through all the picks, but you got the Chiefs this week as your 401k pick of the week. Tell me why.
Because the NFL don't want the Chiefs to lose any games.
Here we go with the bullshit. Here we go. Come on.
Because they clearly don't want the Chiefs to lose. My quarterback's hobbling. He shouldn't have played last week, in my opinion. In my opinion, best player on defense is suspended because he tackled somebody last week.
So I agree with you on Derwin James. I think that's complete bullshit because the D lineman from the Saints wasn't suspended for his hit on Devontae Smith, which was a dirty fucking hit.
Yeah.
But Derwin James was suspended. So I agree with you on that.
For what, to me, I've watched that play 50 times, and I still don't see where. I don't even see where it could have been called a 15-yard flag on that play. I think it was a clean tackle. Travis Kelce has not been right this year so far. And Derwin James has been known to put the clamps on Travis Kelce. So let's get Kelce that green light and get Derwin James out the way and suspend him for basically nothing.
Hold on, Will, you my man. I don't know how you could say Derwin James has put the clamps on Travis Kelce. You and I have sat here after some of those games where we wondered why they didn't roll more coverage towards Travis Kelce. Derwin James has struggled with that matchup.
Wait, not one-on-one, he hasn't.
Travis Kelce, there was a game a few years ago where Travis Kelce called 2 touchdowns on him when he was on one-on-one coverage, including one that was a game winner.
That was 3 years ago. I remember that.
He put the clamps on him when it's one-on-one. I gave you an example, and then you said, "Oh, that was 3 years ago."
What I'm talking about. Listen, they've given them every opportunity to have a clear path to victory, like they've been doing all season for the Chiefs with these bogus calls. It's been well documented. You've seen them. You've seen all the replays. You've seen all the discrepancies between the calls made against the Chiefs and for the Chiefs. And at this point, with my guys being down and out and injured, and with the NFL being team Chiefs, that's my 401k pick of the week. Bet it all on the Chiefs.
There's only one call this season that you could say, yeah, without a doubt, that benefited the Chiefs, and that was the pass interference on Kyle Pitts last week. And even after that, the Falcons got 2 more calls that put them in position to potentially win that game.
And you know what? I saw one video today, just today, because they keep coming. Pause. These videos about the Chiefs. This dude was going off about Derwin James being suspended. He's like, yeah, Derwin James was suspended 1 game, and then for this hit, and then he showed that hit from last week, and then he made the best point I've heard made in all of sports this year. But Rashee Rice is playing.
But those are two.
No.
Those are 2. Hold on, no, because see, this is what social media tries to create. They try to create these narratives. The Rashee Rice situation has already been discussed, and the NFL's already said why they haven't suspended him. Rashee Rice does not have a court date. And by the CBA, they've said, and they've set precedent that they would not intervene until there's a court date set. No, hold on. Go back. Opening night, this was one of the trending topics, and they talked about it then. They talked about it on opening night, and they said the reason Rashee Rice is still playing is because he does not have a court date set yet. So the NFL does not want to hand down a suspension until they know what the legal precedent is on this.
So they got rid of the not reflecting the shield properly thing. They got rid of that.
They got rid of that 4 years ago. When they said 4 years ago, they said we're gonna let the law play out first before we hand out punishment. Hold on. Now, but hold on. I'm gonna give you a prime example. Shout out to Vern. Vern, I see you in the comment section, right? Because Vern said Rashee Rice shouldn't be playing. This is a prime example of social media creating narratives. Didn't Alvin Kamara find himself in a situation off field?
What kind of situation?
We could look it up. Alvin Kamara found himself in a situation off field where people wondered if he was going to get suspended. And the NFL took the same precedent with him. They said they were not going to intervene until the legal matter played out. But because
what was the situation?
I'm going to look it up right now for you. But
I know whenever Derwin James did last week in that suspendable hit was nothing like what Rashee Rice should be suspended for. One of them's playing football this weekend and one of them's not.
Correct.
And that shit ain't right.
Those are still two different issues that have nothing to do with each other. They have nothing to do with each other because they're penalizing Derwin James. I'm sorry, I'm trying to look up exactly what the issue is with Alvin Kamara, but they're penalizing Derwin James for what took place on the field. And I agree with you. He should not be suspended. I said, if anything, the D lineman from the Saints should be suspended for the hit on Devontae Smith. Devontae Smith was already engaged in a tackle when the D lineman, a 300-pound D lineman, comes in and leads with his head, knocks his helmet off, and gives him a fucking concussion. That's a dirty hit. He should be suspended. I agree with you on that. But my point is the NFL has already taken the stance on we're going to hand down suspension after the legal matter takes off. Come on. See, here we go. Vern said the league definitely. Vern, how is the league cheating for the Chiefs? I just want to know how the league cheating for the Chiefs.
It's been well documented.
All right. And I apologize. The Alvin Kamara was last season. The NFL suspended him for 3 games after the legal after the legal precedent took place where he was found guilty of some off-field interaction that took place in Vegas. They did not hand down the suspension before. They waited to after. You said look at the pass interference calls in back-to-back week. So you're telling me, Vern, that the pass interference on the Bengals was not a pass interference? And then, Will, you can answer that too. You telling me on that drive that wasn't a pass interference on the Chiefs' last drive when the defender literally jumps up the back of the receiver a good second and a half before the ball even got there? Pause.
On the Chiefs?
Yeah.
No.
It wasn't?
That was a jump ball, man.
Vern just said it was. So, again, Vern, which one is it? The Falcons game is the one, and I said that. I said that the cow pitch, that was a pass interference. But it should have been called. I agree. But did the Falcons not get 2 calls?
Wait, are you talking about when the Chiefs had the ball?
Hold on. Vern, keep up with me, bro. Vern said, look at the pass interference calls in back-to-back weeks. So he's talking 2 weeks ago when they played the Bengals and the Chiefs on their final drive trying to get the game-winning field goal. The Bengals defender literally runs through the receiver and jumps up his back a good second and a half before the ball even got there. Was that pass interference? Yes, it was pass interference. So how is the league cheating for the Chiefs if it's an obvious call that is pass interference? I just want to know if we only pointing at the Kyle Pitts play. All right, if you want to say
that was not. I don't think that was PI.
The game against the Bengals?
I'm thinking that's the same game. See, that's the thing. When this is the thing. When it's so many times that the Chiefs are in a position where the referees are questionable in what the fuck they called, that's when you know something's wrong. That's when you know something's wrong. Because I don't even remember which of the questionable plays you're referring to right now. Because there's been so many.
For this season.
In 3 weeks.
For this season, first of all, Vern, I agree with you. You got to call it both ways, but it's not the same referee. It's not the same referee crew. So it's kind of tough to say, well, they saw it this way, so they got to see it this way on the next
same rule book.
The same rule book, but the human element still comes into play. It's just like if you and I playing basketball, where you might consider a foul, I don't consider a foul. Even though we're playing by the same rule book, right?
Not when you play the Chiefs today.
Hold on.
The Kansas City Chiefs.
You saying that because they dominated the Chargers since you've been a Charger fan?
No, I ain't saying that. I'm just saying I'm just watching what's in front of me.
This season, you could only point to one game where you be like, all right, that was a questionable call. That was the Kyle Pitts call. That's it. What other moment can you say is a questionable call for the Chiefs? The problem is teams play the Chiefs and they get the deer in the headlight look in that moment because they don't execute against the Chiefs. That's why teams.
I know there was at least 2 other PIs that were not PIs that were called against Chiefs defenders.
Will, since you and I have been doing this live, we've been doing this live damn near 5 years now. Teams play the Chiefs and they get the deer in the headlight look when the game gets close. We've seen it with Justin Herbert. Remember that interception he threw at the goal line? When he had no business throwing a pick there at the goal line? Teams, it happens all the time. It used to happen all the time with the Patriots too. Teams get in that moment and they tense up and they make the mistake that the Chiefs don't make. Are they calls that can go against the Chiefs that don't? Yes, we know that. We know that. But let's not make it seem like throughout a 60-minute game, that one call changed everything. If you got a chance to put the Chiefs away, you got to put the Chiefs away, point blank, period. And a lot of teams don't. They let the Chiefs hang around. So you can't just be mad at the refs and, the refs are letting them win. Really? Because if you just handled your business and score points, the Chiefs don't got no chance to beat you. We pointing to one play in the Falcon game as if the Falcons, after that, as if the Falcons didn't have first and goal after that and still didn't score. We forget that those part of the games. The Falcons had first and goal after that and didn't score. So that's the Chiefs 4-2?
That kind of stuff changes momentum, changes game script, changes flow of the game. You can't just take it and just break it down like a game log.
No, I'm not breaking it down.
In the reality of the game, now all that changes when that stuff happens in real time.
Of course, we've seen it both ways. Remember last year when the Chiefs had that play where Kelsey catches it and flips it, and then they was like, "Oh, it's an illegal formation on the Chiefs." Of course, we know it breaks momentum. My point is, though, we're highlighting one aspect of a 60-minute game and forgetting all the other opportunities that the Falcons had throughout the game, all the other opportunities the Bengals had throughout the game to put them away. In the NFL, and just like any other sport, when you get an opportunity to put a team away, you got to put them away. Simple as that.
That's what people love to say is it was a 60-minute game. But if it comes down to the last 3 minutes of that 60, fuck the first 57.
So
you know what I'm saying? It comes down to what you can do at the end of games in clutch moments. That's where people get their jackets, right? That's where people get their accolades and stuff from. It's from the clutch moments. And you're like, oh well, you had a whole 60 minutes to do this. No, that's not sports. That's not even being realistic.
So what happened? What happened after the Kyle Pitts non-call when the Falcons end up getting 2 calls and have first and goal? What happened then?
I don't remember. You think I remember that game play by play? I remember how it ended, and I remember who stepped up and who didn't. And that's what comes down to.
They got stopped inside the 15 and didn't score. That's my point. We want to highlight one part of the game as if like, oh, that would have determined everything. That doesn't mean it should have been called. Yes. That don't mean it determines everything because the Falcons still got 2 more shots after that and didn't score.
All right.
We trying to we trying to paint the narrative only based off of that one call. Yes, should it have been called? Absolutely. But let me ask you a question, Will. If we playing basketball or anybody's playing basketball, right? You don't get the call on that one possession. Do you stop playing the next possession?
You talking about it like it's a missed travel call with 2 minutes left in the first quarter.
I never said that.
No,
I asked a direct
there's
question.
weight to
I said, if
these
we don't get a
things, man.
foul call,
I mean, it's
even
he
if
was
it's the
like, "Oh,
last
he
minute,
missed the call. Oh, he missed the call."
even if
Whoops.
that's part of the game, though.
Whoops.
We act like every call is perfect. We know every call is not going to be perfect. We know every official is not going to be perfect. My point is that was not the last play of the game. I could understand if that was the last play of the game, and he was like, "Yeah, that they got fucked, bro." I could understand if it's the last play of the game. But if you're telling me that you got 2 shots after that to score, and then penalties moved you closer, and you still had a chance to score and you didn't, we only gonna focus on the fact that wasn't called. Why are we not focusing on the fact that Kirk Cousins didn't get it done?
It all changes.
Vern said, when have the Chiefs been on the bad end of a call? Remember when they lost to the Patriots in a AFC Championship game? They was on the bad end of a call there. I mean, that happens, bro. Vern, I'm being honest. I'm not being naive about it. Let's be real. Like, I can understand if it's the last play of the game or the last possession, like that's it. Then I can understand that. But we talking about it like as if we don't remember that Kirk Cousins had multiple plays after that on a 1st and goal and didn't get it done. So Kirk Cousins could only get it done if the refs would have blew the whistle. He can't get it done without the refs blowing the whistle. Like, come on, bro. We know that's the game. And listen, I'm saying all that. I agree with you. There should have been a whistle, but we only basing it now that the Kansas City cheats because that whistle wasn't blown. Come on, bro. So
It's been something every week this season. It's been something every week this season for them.
Will every time they beat y'all, the refs cheated?
I'm talking about this season. There's been something every week when you're like, wait a minute, hold up.
What was the call in the Baltimore game then?
I don't remember what. I'm just saying, there's been something every week. I know there has been.
No call in the Baltimore game. That's my point. These are the narratives that social media creates because now
ain't no narrative. It's like you think it's a Mandela effect or something?
Yes.
No, the refs are cheating for them damn Chiefs.
Bro, we know for a fact that when you are successful and people get tired of you being successful, they try to find any reason that why you're being successful. Is that not the truth? You win too much, people start hating on the fact that you're winning. So now it turns into, well, look, this happened for them, that happened for them. But nobody looks at the other stuff where it's like, yo, you had a chance to knock them out early in that game and you let them hang around. That game shouldn't even been close.
But when it is.
So, and then there's been times when it's close and they don't get the call and they still find a way to win. When they had 13 seconds on the clock against the Bills, they still found a way to win. Did the refs help them then? When they was down 10 points at the half against the Eagles in the Super Bowl and came back and won, did the refs help them then? What about the 2 times? See, but this is what I'm saying.
First 3 games of the 2024
season is a social media narrative. Well, that's a social media narrative based on this year. There's one play this year that you can highlight. That's the.
I'll send you the highlight reel. I'll send you the tape.
Please send it to me.
I will send you the tape.
There was no call in the Ravens game, and I had the Ravens open tonight. Me and you, when we talked about open night, we both liked the Ravens to win that game. I thought the Ravens go in there, they'll catch them, they'll get their revenge, they'll win. There was no call open at night that affected that game. There was no call for the Chiefs against the Bengals that affected that game.
I'll send it to you.
Send it to me. Because there's no call in either one of the first 2 games. If we're highlighting the Kyle Pitts, I get it. The Kyle Pitts one, that should have been pass interference. I agree. That should have been. You're right. But let's not make it seem like that's every game. That's not every game.
So that jump ball was pass interference?
The jump ball in what, week 2?
Yep.
Against the Bengals? Against the Bengals.
I'm thinking it was the Bengals.
Week 2 against the Bengals, yes. The defender literally ran through and run up the back paws of the receiver.
No.
He
See,
did.
that must not be the game I was talking about, because that's not what happened in what I saw.
You haven't explained what game you're talking about. That's the game I'm thinking you're talking about, that situation, because that was the pivotal call in week 2 against the Bengals.
It was like the last play of the game.
Like the second to last play of the game. Yes, the defender literally runs through the receiver a good second before the ball gets there.
No.
Then I don't know what game you're talking about, because that's the Bengals game.
That's not what happened.
Please, anybody who's in the comments,
that was bang, bang.
Tell me.
That was bang, bang, and then the flag came in like 3 seconds later.
The flag literally came out as the play was happening. Before they could even say incomplete, the drive is over, the flag was on the play. Vern, you watched the game. Was that play against the Bengals, was that not pass interference? Vern himself said it is pass interference already. And he even said if you call it in one, you got
who's Vern? You think Vern's the fucking end all be all of calls? I don't care what Vern said.
Oh my God. All I'm saying is you're not even sure what game you're talking about, Will. You're not even sure what game you're talking about. I'm telling you, if you're talking about the Bengals game, that was pass interference. If we're talking about the cow pits, that should have been pass interference as well. As I mentioned, though, and I think it was pass interference. I believe it was pass interference. But it wasn't called.
Even Bird said pass.
I'm just saying. So who you want to ask, Will?
Nice.
Who you want to ask, Will?
Nah, I'm just saying.
I'm just saying, because you don't even know what game you're talking about.
I just know the one where they both went up, hands up. That was not PI.
So was that week 1 or week 2?
That I don't remember, but it was one of them. Shit.
So which one are you even debating then?
They both weeks they got away with bad calls. Both weeks. That's what I'm talking. That's my point. Both weeks they got away with shit.
It was one of them social media clips you saw.
They've gotten away with shit both weeks.
I'm just saying it was one of them social media clips you saw.
No.
Obviously, because you don't remember what game it was.
It's week fucking. What are we going into right now? Week 4?
They only played 3 games. Well,
that's not my team. Why do you think I'm gonna be remembering everything they did?
You're arguing. They call them the Kansas City Chiefs as if you have a personal interest.
I know when I saw it. I know when I saw it.
All right? So let me ask you a question. Was the
see that goes to show I'm not losing sleep over that shit. I know when I saw that shit happen.
Neither am I.
And then I keep it pushing.
I keep it moving
because I know they're gonna keep on cheating. And we're gonna keep on pushing.
I'm watching the games every week, just like you watching the games. I ain't losing no sleep over it, but I remember what I was watching. Was it pass interference when James Bradbury grabbed the receiver in the Eagles Chiefs Super Bowl, or the refs was cheating then too?
See what you do. So all right, let's pinpoint every pass interference call in NFL history. Is that what we're doing right now? Is that what we're going to do?
You started this debate about like the refs only favor the Chiefs, as if like other teams aren't committing penalties too.
This year? Yes.
So which one is it, this year or is it the first 3 weeks? Because a minute ago it's like, oh, we only 3 weeks into the season. Now it's like, oh, this whole year. There's one call this season.
When I say this year, I'm talking about this season, and it's only been 3 weeks. So yes.
Bottom line, y'all wasn't gonna beat the Chiefs anyway. With Derwin James. Let's keep it a buck. Y'all was gonna beat the Chiefs?
We have a better chance with our best defensive player.
I know that's your way of saying y'all wasn't gonna beat the Chiefs, because I know you're not for moral victories. Y'all wasn't gonna beat the Chiefs.
I didn't pick them.
I know you got the Chiefs as your 401k pick.
And the reason I didn't pick them is for all the reasons that I stated. The league is on a mission.
The league is on a mission. King Mac, that's a great point, because that gets overlooked as well. The Ravens had a chance to win that game. Lamar misses 2 guys wide open in the end zone that would have won that game. But those aren't the clips that get cut up for social media, because those clips aren't attractive.
Well,
Nobody.
the clips I saw showed that that the Chiefs should be 0-3 off of 3 bad plays. So,
So when Lamar
but
misses Zay Flowers,
I'm not going there. You know what I'm saying?
so hold on, when Lamar misses Zay Flowers wide open in the back of the end zone, that's the refs.
I didn't say refs. I said 3 bad plays
Again, you said they should be 0-3.
off of 3 bad plays.
I mean,
That's what I said. Isn't that what
that's
rewind
just
it?
fair, Will.
I
That's just
said 0-3 off 3 bad plays. I saw that today.
I like for my 401k
Three.
pick of the week. I like the Jets. They get the Broncos at home. Bo Nix coming off a career game. I think the Jets take care of business. Plus, I think Aaron Rodgers, they starting to get rolling offensively. And my upset pick of the week, I like the Colts to keep it close with the Steelers. The Steelers really don't put anybody away. Every one of their games is close. So this could be a week where on the road, if Justin Fields struggles, the Colts hang in that game. I think the Colts hang around. I like that as my upset pick potentially of the week. What do you have as your upset pick of the week?
Shit, I don't even know if I picked one. Upset of the week probably would be Carolina.
Carolina got who they got this week? Let me go back to it.
Andy Dalton. I think I mentioned it last week.
They got
Last year.
They got the Bengals this week.
Yeah. So it's a revenge game. Last week he had a good game, and then if you go back to last season, the one game he played, he had 361 yards and 3 touchdowns. So it's not like he's not capable of putting up numbers for this offense. And when he keeps the defense honest, that opens it up for Chuba Hubbard, who's a regular dude. But if he's got if they've got the play action working effectively, he can be effective. I like Carolina in my upset pick.
I think you changed your pick on me, Will.
Did I?
Yeah, because you originally, I think you. Hold on, let me look back. I think you had the Panthers. I think you had the Bengals. Yeah, you picked the Bengals.
Oh shit! Well, it's good that the game ain't started yet, so it ain't locked in yet.
So we'll give you the credit there for switching it. Vern likes the Colts as well. He also likes the Bengals. I mean, the Bengals got to win. Their season's on the line. They don't win, they lose. I mean, their season's over. Also, I think Andy Dalton, that was more about the Raiders, just a bad team. I don't understand why the Raiders played that game the way they did.
Where is that game?
That game is it in Carolina? Yeah.
Well, I feel good. Okay.
I like the Bengals, man. I don't know. I mean, their defense has been shit. Don't get me wrong, because they had no business losing that game the other day. But I mean, got to be desperate, right? If you're the Bengals, this is it. You lose this one 0-4, the season's over. So you got to play with a certain sense of desperation. Also, I think Andy Dalton, that's one of the moments where you come off the bench and you're ready to go, you're excited, but I just don't see it happening. The Raider thing is also interesting too, because I don't understand why the Raiders played the defensive game they played. Marvin Lewis is on their staff. Marvin Lewis used to coach Andy Dalton. If anything, he should have known how to attack him. So
wait, Marvin Lewis is on that staff?
Marvin Lewis is on the Raiders staff.
Okay.
Vern, you're absolutely right. There's a lot of great seats still available for that Carolina game. A lot of good seats for cheap out there, because there ain't gonna be too many fans out there. For those of you in the comment section, let me know what game you're looking forward to most this weekend. Make sure you guys are following myself and Will Gordon across social media platforms. You see our handles right there at the bottom. Make sure you subscribe to the Sanchez Show over on YouTube. We're live every Friday on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch.
Wait. Vernon's in here?
Yeah, Vern been in the comment section.
Ask him what size Jay and Daniel's pajamas did he purchase?
I mean, he hears you. It's
like did you get the joints with the flap in the front or the back?
I mean, he's in the chat. He can hear you. I don't have to ask.
Like which ones did you go with, Vern? Because I know you down there Sice for Jaden Daniels, man. I know you can hardly contain yourself. Pause.
I mean, they're excited. They're excited for Jaden Daniels. I mean, why shouldn't they though be, Will? Why shouldn't they be excited for him?
Man, we've been here before.
I'm
Hey, enjoy yourselves, guys. Enjoy yourselves.
Vern, I agree with you. Vikings and Packers. I like the Vikings. I don't understand why the Packers are favored by 3 points. Especially
that's a weird line.
That's a very weird line. Jordan Love is still questionable. The Vikings have been playing some good ball, and I think Brian Flores has that defense. They legit. Like I said, in 2 of their 3 games, they've given up a touchdown or less. In terms of point wise, the only team that's put up more than a touchdown on them was that Texans game. I'm sorry, actually that 49er game. 49ers put up 17 on them. But other than that, nobody's come closer to getting more than a touchdown against them. That defense is really good. I think they beat the Packers. That's one of my other underdog in terms of lines that I like. But if you're the Commanders, shout out to Vern. I know Vern was out there for opening day in Tampa, but you should be excited. They ain't been much to root for in quite some time, right? You got the new head coach. You got the new offensive coordinator. No, I don't like Cliff Kingsbury as a head coach. I think he's perfect for them as an OC. And now he got to face his old quarterback this week. But Will, give me a final thought before we wrap up, bro.
Oh, see, you always get me every week with the final thought, man. My final thought is going to lend to the state of what I don't like getting into, and which I'm not going to get into real heavy, but I've been hearing a lot of it recently is a little bit on the political side of things. And all I'm going to say is vote. Like, I don't care who you vote for, just go vote, do your own research, and make an educated decision on your own research. Don't just click on things, and don't take everything you read as gospel. Do your own research, make an educated decision, and let's get out here and unite ourselves.
Yeah, without getting too political, I mean, yeah, I encourage everybody to get out and vote and be informed in whatever decision you make. I'll leave it at that without getting too political in terms of that. But my final thought, Vern said your final thought was, I wish I was a Commanders fan. You know the Commanders fan still got it out for you, Will.
They want me so, like, why y'all want me so bad? Like, come on, man. I mean, it's kind of creepy at this point. Like, well, like, let me. I'm happy doing my own thing over here, and y'all just keep on trying to tug on me, pause, and you know what I'm saying. I'm good. Like, I don't need y'all. Y'all don't need me. So let's coexist peacefully. And I'm a do my thing. Y'all do y'all's thing. Y'all can continue to, have lofty expectations and that you can't meet. And I'm gonna continue to try to build something over here.
Let me ask you a question. Head coach. Would it bother you this season only, if the Commanders had a better record than the Chargers?
No.
Why not?
What they do has nothing to do with what I do.
I'm just asking, would it bother you though?
Why would it?
I'm just saying because there's been high expectations for the Chargers for several seasons now. So to see that the Commanders then would have had a better season.
Have there?
Yeah. What you mean have there? Justin Herbert, with his new deal and what he's been projected to be at the Chargers, y'all have had one playoff appearance. So if you're telling me the Commanders had a better season than you guys this year, and this is year 5 of Herbert?
And then once we got that clown show of a coach out of there,
Yeah, but
they
that's one
stripped
of the
down
first.
my entire offense of every talented player we had. So who do you think will have more expectations this year?
I
And a
still think
first year coach on both teams.
I still think the Chargers. They got the more experienced coach and a more experienced quarterback. You're telling me before the season you thought if we went through the schedules you would think that the Commanders would have a better season than the Chargers.
Yeah, I only had us winning 5 or 6 games.
So what you had the Commanders winning?
6 or 7.
I don't believe that, Will.
Go back and look.
I'm telling you right now, there's no way. I didn't have the Chargers as a playoff team this year, but I did not expect them to be or to have a season that was worse than the Commanders. The
Dude, I
Commanders
did. The cupboard is the most bare the team has come back from a prior season ever.
What is the Commanders covered?
Well, they have one of our pieces in Austin Eckler.
A guy who's over the hill.
And we replaced him with Gus Edwards.
And J.K. Dobbins. You went with 2 younger options.
J.K. Dobbins, who's had a good few games. So is Brian Robinson.
Will, there's no way you could tell me when you looked at the rosters that you thought
who's better set up at receiver, Washington or LA?
Who's better? Washington. They got McLaurin.
Tight end.
I don't even know who the Commanders got at tight end. But they still got
Ertz.
Thomas.
Zach Ertz.
Zach Ertz is in his 14th year, Will.
And you don't even know who LA's tight end is.
I still got the kid. What's his name?
No. Whoever you gonna say.
Not Jerry. No. The other guy you had.
Who?
What was the guy? What was it? Parmas or Parma or something like that?
No, he's gone.
You still got hold on. You still got the better quarterback.
Hunter Henry.
Hunter Henry is
trash.
He's not better than Zach Ertz?
No.
What?
Come on, man.
Stop. You're making excuses for the Chargers, Will. Come on.
No, I'm not. We are bare with from last year to this year.
Who got the better defense, Will?
Listen, from last year to this year, both starting receivers are gone, both starting tight ends are gone, and both running backs are gone.
All right. And even with all that being said, who has the better defense, Will?
Oh, no. We do.
Who has the better quarterback, Will?
We do, but he's hurt. He's got a high ankle sprain.
No. Stop trying to move the goalposts.
I'm not moving the goalposts.
You have the better defense. You have the better quarterback. Who has the better head coach?
Who has the better division?
Well, you do. Because outside of the Chiefs, who is a playoff team in that division? It ain't the Broncos or the Raiders. The Commanders are in a division with 2 potential playoff teams. So if you want to use that as an example, you got a better division too.
The NFC East is low bar, except for whoever wins it every year.
They've had 2 playoff teams come out of that division consistently for at least the last 6-7 years.
Low bar.
How is that low bar?
Because they win 10 games.
So now winning 10 games is low
beating
bar?
up on each other. They beat up on each other.
So
and win 10 games.
So now winning 10 games is low bar.
Yes. There's been teams that won 10 games and didn't make the playoffs.
Well, it's very rare for a team to win 10 games and not make the playoffs.
It's happened multiple times.
Yeah, you could probably count that on one hand. It doesn't happen very often. You win 10 games.
Happens.
Will, stop. You trying to move the goalposts, bro.
The Commanders went to the playoffs winning 7.
That was 1 year that happened, Will. Stop trying to move the goalposts.
But you said...
Do you have the better head coach?
Certain things can happen.
Do you have the better head coach?
Yes.
Do you have the better quarterback?
Yes.
Do you have the better defense?
Yep.
So how the hell can you tell me that you thought the Commanders were going to have a better season than the Chargers? Running back is damn near a wash because they got Austin Eckler, who's washed up. Y'all didn't want him anymore. And
I had it damn near washed. I told you I had Washington at 6 and I had us at 6 or 7.
A minute ago, you said 5.
Man.
We're going to wrap up on that note. We're gonna wrap it up on that note. For my brother Will Gordon, I am Eric Sanchez.
I said 6, man.
No, you did not. I'm going to run the tape back. Like I said, you keep trying to move the goalposts. Shout out to everybody in the comment section. We'll be back next week. Make sure you guys lock in on Sunday. Real Fans, Real Talk. Myself and my brother Trip Young. We give you a recap in sports. And then this week, I'll be dropping clips from the interview with Gene Deal, former bodyguard for Puff Daddy. We get into some good things, man. It's a great interview, so we're going to be dropping some clips this week, man. But again, for my brother Will Gordon, I am Eric Sanchez. We are the Opinionated Ones. We'll see you guys next week. Enjoy the games, man. We out of here.